Up with KREM begins now.
Welcome back to Up with KREM. This morning you might notice a blue light coming from the clock tower in downtown Spokane. The base of the tower is lit up in blue to honor essential workers during the pandemic. Great showing out of Spokane. Well, welcome back to Up with KREM on our Tuesday morning. I'm Jen York, joined by my colleagues Joshua Robinson, Dana Marie McNichol, and Evan Narani. Joshua, how was your long holiday weekend?
You know what? It was good. Got plenty of opportunities to go outside. I've tracked some of the best windows that Evan let us know when we could do it. It was a great opportunity to go outside and soak in more of the inland Northwest. How was yours?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, I was able to honor some late family members and also catch up on a little bit of sleep. You know, we're always a little bit sleep deprived on this shift, so it was good overall. But looking ahead to this week, looking at our forecast, boy, we are warming up into the 80s by the end of the week, and it's almost that summer-like weather, even though we have a few more weeks. For more on that, we want to bring in Evan Narani. We know it was a little bit drizzly yesterday for Memorial Day. What are we looking at this morning?
Yeah, it looks like you mentioned, Jen, a little taste of summer is on the way. We've got 70s in store for this afternoon. We're starting off the morning, though, with mainly 50s. We do see some areas with stronger cloud cover than others. In Spokane, for example, we're just starting to see those clouds thin out just a bit, and we will see a little bit of the sun into the afternoon, but other spots are just under full sunlight, so things are looking good, really dependent on where you are. 52 right now in Spokane, 50 in Pullman, and 54 in Sandpoint. Satellite radar has shown where the showers are and how they're just clearing out as the day goes on. So pausing this at where we are right now, we've got a few showers just off toward western Montana, mainly just farther off to the east of Libby. But aside from that, really nothing notable on satellite radar. Hour by hour, we're going to keep warming up. We've got southwesterly winds in about the 10 to 15 mile per hour range, so it will be breezy in some cases. Temperatures are warming up to the low 70s and mid 70s in the central Washington area. We're even expected to get as warm as 80s. So already warming to the 80s in central Washington. Those 80s will be widespread by the time we get to your Thursday and Friday. So boy, enjoy the warm up while it comes. A little taste of summer before it happens. Jen, I know, like you said, this is the time that you thrive. I do too. I think we're all hoping for a taste of this and for it to mimic what summer is actually like because we enjoy it warm and we like that little brief warm period as it always feels like it goes by too quickly, right?
Always. I feel like summer is always over in the blink of an eye and winter just drags on and on and on. So yeah, looking forward to this week's forecast, and good idea to gather up all my sunscreen now because I know I'm going to need it by the end of the week.
That's right. Get on the sunscreen now, get prepared, get the bucket hat ready, the sunglasses, you'll be set.
If you're like me, you love the sun, but then you have to just cover your entire body in clothing. Otherwise, you burn in the first 5 minutes outside. So, all right, Evan, thank you for that. Yeah, right. We'll look forward to your full forecast here coming up in a few minutes. In the meantime, let's get to today's headlines, including this. Washington's Catholic churches are waiting to hear from the governor about when and how to reopen parishes. Bishops in Seattle, Yakima, and Spokane submitted reopening plans. Right now, there are still no dates set on when churches can reopen, and there are no guidelines about the size of religious gatherings. This morning, we are learning about the criminals behind fake unemployment claims in Washington. Online phishing defense company Agari says the crooks are part of a West African cyber criminal group called the Scattered Canary. Now, according to experts, the group filed at least 174 fraudulent claims for unemployment with Washington. If it had not been discovered, the fraudulent claims could have cost the state nearly $5 million. The Secret Service is now involved in this case. It is investigating crimes across 7 states. The feds estimate the losses to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Most of the Washington coast opens today for fishing. State Fish and Wildlife says marine fishing in a few areas on the west side will open for bottomfish, shellfish, mussels, clams, oysters, and more. Today, crabbing near the mouth of the Columbia River is also set to resume under normal regulations. There are still some restrictions, though, around the Puget Sound, so make sure you check your specific destination before heading out. And that's a quick look at your headlines here on our Tuesday morning. We'll send thanks now to Joshua in studio.
Thank you very much, Jen. 6:35 this morning on your Tuesday morning. And a new study out of the University of Washington confirms that the coronavirus is in fact deadlier than the flu. Now, the study shows that there are roughly between 350,000 and 1.2 million COVID-19 related deaths possible in the United States, according to the most current calculations.
In the whole of United States, there were 35,000 deaths from flu. In the first 2 months this year from COVID, we have more than 100,000 deaths. So surely this is a different beast that we are talking about.
That's Dr. Anirban Basu, director of the Choice Institute at the UW School of Pharmacy, where they developed a program that looks at infection and fatality rates across the U.S. by county. So data from 116 counties across 33 states was used to get a look at what's happening right now throughout American communities. And it's not considered as a forecasting tool, but more or less a tool to track how infection rates change daily. Dr. Basu says right now in Washington state, fatality rates have ranged anywhere from 0.5 up to 3.6%. That's the current rate right now in King County. Other areas include Chelan County at 2.3% and Spokane County at 2%. So using this data, researchers say that they can lock in on a more clear picture of exactly how deadly the virus is for the people who get sick from it. Now, Dr. Basu says as of right now, only 25% of cases are being reported, which does mean a lot of data is still missing. But he says it's enough data to help statewide health leaders make informed decisions when it comes to public health. Of course, we'll keep you updated on the latest from this study as it comes into our newsroom. 6:37 now. Let's check in with our own Dana Marie McNichol this morning for a closer look at what's trending today. Dana Marie?
Good morning, Joshua. Trending this morning, sports stadiums, of course, continue to sit empty, and leagues and conferences discuss a return to sports. Many of those plans bar fans for the foreseeable future. While times are unique, it's not actually the first time sports has been affected by this pandemic. And we get a view of this. Here's a photo from Grant Field at Georgia Tech in 1918 during the flu pandemic. This gives us an insight to what sports were back then during that time, and maybe what it could be like being a fan right now. One image shows the team on the field you see there. The other, the stands filled with fans with masks over their faces. It's really an era that once seemed unimaginable, now a reality with history repeating itself. Now, during the deadly second wave of the 1918 pandemic, Georgia Tech still managed to play 7 games, 6 at home and 1 on the road that was rescheduled. So a photo taken out, 102 years ago is definitely relevant now more than ever. Just really interesting to see that history kind of go throughout the decades. And this story came out of our Atlanta sister station. And the story behind that photo is really cool because on the back of it says, the 1918 pandemic, and someone's grandfather had it in their office and it was kind of passed down. So I don't know. It's so interesting to be able to relive those moments.
Yeah, and Dana Marie, and I'm going to check in with Evan on this too. What's also interesting is, 102 years ago, we didn't have TVs to be able to watch games. But boy, today we see concerts being brought across social media on TVs. We see the conversation of fans not being welcome back. I think people just want to be entertained, Evan. People want to see sports back, concerts back in whatever capacity they have.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like that will be kind of one of the final barriers to break is those concerts and music festivals, all those kinds of things. But I know that while I've been at home, I've been watching them on TV. Mm-hmm. Taylor Swift had one last week. That was great. So they're all kind of those concerts that were taped last year and that are now being premiered for the first time. So cool to see.
But of course, Jen, there's nothing quite like being at a stadium for a game. As long as you've got your Cougs mask on, right? We can all find a way to accept what a new normal might look like for a while if we can all stay safe.
Yeah, and I know the Cougar football fans are very faithful. I know they're rooting to be able to get back in Martin Stadium come fall. So if there's a way to do it safely where we're not infecting other people around us, I think they'll be rooting for that for sure.
I think we all want to see it happen just like it did in 1918 here in 2020 or beyond, whenever we can make it happen. Jen, Evan, Dana Marie, thank you for joining us this morning. We'll check in with each of you still to come here on Up with KREM. Of course, also coming up, people taking up new hobbies amid social distancing, and for some people, they got to get creative with running. So this morning, we will tell you about a new way to get active while honoring history and raising money for small businesses.
And coming up, we'll be taking a look at that 7-day forecast that includes a warming trend, a strong warming trend at that, with 80s and near 90-degree temperatures on the way.